Hello, welcome to the last installment of my bulk cut and maintenance series. So, I'm going to try and keep it nice and simple just because I've been on about most things already. So, anything that you don't understand in this one, just like shoot me a message or comment below. But I covered in the last video why maintenance is so magical and how it can actually help you break past plateaus and like the things that happen if you push a surplus too far or you push a cut too far. And like when I say that it's a time for a break with my clients, I kind of don't say, okay, we've been dieting for ages, it's time to go into surplus. I say it's time for a diet break, which usually I reverse them up in 1 or 2 stages to maintenance, or depending on where they're at, I put them straight up to maintenance. So, like, I usually aim for 3 to 4 weeks, but sometimes I keep them there for a really long time because their bodies actually start to make so much change once you've removed the stress of the dieting, the food, the stress of pretty much a lot of things, and also because they're feeding themselves more, they're performing so much better. So they are in essence putting themselves in a deficit in that they are performing so much better, getting so many, like, their focus actually changes to feeling so much better and seeing curves in their body. Like, curves, definition, tone. It's amazing. Your energy levels come up, the hunger goes away, your performance is through the roof, and like I said, your stress really does go down, and you can sleep better, poop better, everything's just better. But it's also important to note that just from getting out of a deficit, you don't just immediately jack up all the hormones and feel good stuff. Like, it will take a few days depending on you yourself and how long you've been in a deficit for, but the benefits from a diet break will start to come in. Like, if you deficited down for comp, it could take well over 2 weeks to feel it. But yeah, that's just something to really keep in mind because, yeah, it can really get you down. I want to get through this. Okay, so if you are in a maintenance phase, like a lot of the time you're forced, like I have a couple of girls that are forced out of deficiting because they've just been dieting their whole lives and put into a maintenance phase or a slight like performance phase wherein it's a maintenance, but we're not overdoing their training volume so much. They're like least emoting, as Muscle Nose calls it, but we're going through a phase of recovery. So it can weigh on your mind if you haven't yet got to your fat loss goals. And if you're not happy maintaining at that weight, that's cool. Then do everything you need to do in that maintenance phase, get your performance up, get all of that up, and then go back into the deficit again. Because a lot of people aren't always happy with the way that their bodies look once they're in a maintenance phase, especially when they just started out their transformation. Like if you've been doing it for ages, like right now I'm happy because I've done a shitload of cutting phases, of focusing on performance, of building my muscle mass over 4 years of just consistently putting my body through shit. Like, it's not easy. Um, yeah, so I wrote that if you haven't yet got to your fat loss goal and you're not happy maintaining at your current weight, then after a while at maintenance and focusing on performance and strength, then when you do come back to that fat loss phase, you'll be doing it so much better. You'll be probably losing so much more because not only would you have increased your strength while you're out of it, that means that in having more strength, you're performing more volume in the gym because say you could only lift like 40 kilos for 6 reps and now you can lift 40 kilos for 15 reps and you're doing 60 kilos for those reps, like the initial reps. So if you put that volume into now your fat loss phase, you're doing more work. So you're able to keep the muscle that you put on through that extra work. Like you're still providing the same stimulus, so you're keeping it. And you're doing more work, so there's more energy expenditure. So the work done in the gym is at higher levels, volume and intensity, and the results will happen so much faster, which is why maintenance is so important. So the longer you spend at maintenance focusing on performance, the more you're going to just come rocketing through when you're doing a fat loss phase again. And that's why a lot of people say to take time off in between comps, but it's not just about comp because it's controlled starvation, which is comp. and it's a deficit when it's fat loss phase when it's not. It's still putting itself into a deficit. So, like, I guess you can relate it to training periodization, how sometimes you're just going boom, 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 and you're increasing the intensity, getting all the strength in, and then you have to lower the intensity once you get fatigued and you're not recovering anymore. And then you come back stronger again once your body has recovered, sort of thing. And it can also be seen in the way that you go through strength and volume phases. Like if you go through a volume phase and then you focus on just strength for a while, you'll get stronger. You'll be able to do more reps at the same weight and do high weight at less reps and just high weight in general, and then come back to the volume phase and you're smashing out so much more volume. You can think of it in the same way, but pertaining to your diet and to your body. And you can even put them hand in hand, because fitness and diet are not in isolation when you're wanting to change your body. So take it as a lifestyle thing and realize that maintaining a... Okay, this is the big thing. Take this as a lifestyle thing. Don't just like enlist a coach for like 12-week transformations or 16-week transformations and expect the world to come of it. Or don't just expect to go on some stupid 12-week challenge and expect to have the best banging body for life afterwards. You might, yeah, you're going to freaking get results at the end of it, and they could be freaking amazing. But what next? Like, what are you going to do afterwards? Are you going to keep looking for the next challenge and the next challenge and the next challenge? Keep having to redo things because they couldn't stick afterwards? Like, you need to see that it's a lifestyle thing. And the main goal is to maintain a better body composition. Like, you want to maintain a better body composition going through life. You want to go through all the phases that are required to go through over the years, because you can't just say, okay, so this week I'm going to do this week I'm going to do this, next week I'll do this. No, they're not even done in months. Like, a lot of mesocycles are done, mesocycles as in like there's a macro and then there's a meso and then there's a micro. But a lot of mesocycles are done in 4 to 8 to 12-week chunks. That's why you see 12-week challenges. But this, you're just paying for one in isolation. What's next? And they're not even consecutive. They're not personalized. They're not focused on getting you forward each one. They're just, here's a 12-week challenge. And a lot of my mesocycles are actually 8 to 10 weeks. Some of them are 6, some of them are 4. But usually I stick with 8 because it's bang on in the middle. If I see someone needs extra, they'll get extra. It usually works that way for me. Especially if they're a beginner. The beginners usually can have longer mesocycles because they will still be adapting to the stimulus. You're not going to change something for the sake of changing something, because that's stupid. Like, you keep the stimulus there and constantly progress that stimulus until there's no more adaptations happening, because we're chasing adaptation. Because by chasing adaptation, we're getting our body to adapt to higher and higher levels, and with each of that, our body is getting a better body composition. So it's kind of like that. And it is so freaking empowering, like being able to freaking now walk into the gym in a crop top and not give a shit about anything else, like wearing booty shorts and wearing a freaking, like, these, I wore these on purpose. These are the shortest and like the only things that I used to wear to the gym pretty much. Like, they're baggy and they don't hug me at all. That's pretty much what I used to wear in terms of short shorts before. And I used to wear this, but I used to wear like a tank on top. And it was the only time I ever took it off was when I was so hot that I was about to faint, or when I was training alone, which is pretty much never, because I was at a massive commercial gym. And then once I changed to a CrossFit gym near my house, like, there was no one there at my time because everyone used to go for CrossFit, which used to happen at nighttime, and I used to do my powerlifting work over there. So I was training there alone. So I'm like, no one's going to see me. I can keep my tank on. But once you actually put in the freaking work and not keep rushing things and going up and down and screwing up your body and hormones and just self-sabotaging everything, you'll just feel so freaking empowered to not give a shit what people think. And this is where my post came in, where it's so hard to delineate from fitness and sexualization these days, because it's taken too far on Instagram. But as long as you know your values, as long as you know where you've come from and you stick to that, then that's all that matters. And the people that know you are the only people that matter, because if someone just judges you and they don't know shit about you, what does their opinion matter in reality? The only thing that matters is your response to that. You're in control of your response to that. Just don't let it affect you. I did a podcast on people's stupid comments the other day because someone was upset and I wanted to kind of touch on it. Anyway, so it's important to allow your body to stabilize itself. It's always going to fight change. And the longer that you stay at maintenance for something, the longer it will get used to that. Like, the longer it will hover around that set point kind of thing. A lot of times you can't, because if you get over fat, you will actually accumulate fat cells, and you can't get rid of them unless you actually go through surgery. You can shrink them, and you can grow them, and you can get more, but you can't delete them. So that's the only point where body fat set point gets a little tedious. But if you learn how to maintain at a lower body fat percentage despite all that, then that is a win-win. And it's not that hard, because it's all about lifestyle and habits and choices that you make. And it's all about realizing that those, like, your body is going to dip down during a cut and when you diet, but you need to allow them to come back up to normal levels, because when you're at normal levels, that's when your metabolism, your everything starts going so much better. Like, it functions so much better. And you don't want to add a load of fat back on. So staying at a maintenance and realizing that it's a lifestyle is the best thing you can do. Because another thing, maintenance, this is something I wrote down. I'm just going to make sure I cover everything, because a maintenance is always changing. Our bodies are dynamic. It changes day to day, week to week. Because, like, today, for example, usually when I wake up, I sit my ass here and I do my client work. I don't go online. I do my client work offline, and I get ready for the gym. Then I go to the gym, and then I come back, and then I do whatever I need to do, come back home around 1 p.m., 2 p.m., depending what I do after the gym. And then I'm here doing work again. Today, for example, I only just sat down at my laptop at 7:30 a.m. because it's client check-in day, and it's my day off the gym. But I still wake up at 5. In between 5 and 7:30, I was going around my rooms and, like, up here, decluttering all of my rooms and my bedrooms and my wardrobes. And I ended up shuffling over a few things, cleaning up a little area, and tossing out 4 dresses. Like, that expended more energy than it usually does. So my maintenance today is probably, like, if I was also going to the gym and doing everything else the same, there's another thing. Like, my maintenance today isn't the same because I'm not working out at the gym. I'm not doing the cardio. But for this period in the morning, I've burnt more than I usually burn every other morning. That sort of thing. There's something to relate to. Also, it's really freaking important to remember that not everybody has the same goals. Like, yeah, cool. If you want to build the most muscle possible, then go bulking. And if, like, not everybody wants to be freaking stringy bean lean. So it's important to know that how much lean mass you retain depends on how fast you diet down. Losing it faster equals more muscle loss. So slower weight loss preserves more muscle. But if you're also coming from a highly, like, if you're coming from an over fat standpoint, then yeah, you can go freaking aggressive to start with. And I usually do that with my girls because their appetite cues are skewed. And they can lose it really fast, and then you just have to dial it down and keep an eye on their progress, and then know when to take off the brakes when they need to take off the brakes, and give them a break when they need to have a break. But if someone comes to me with, like, binge eating, for example, then I will jack their calories up to make sure that they're first in control, and then work from there. But that's a totally different thing I'm not even going to touch into. But just be patient in both directions, because you can't keep pushing one without expecting repercussions. And the same rules apply that I've been going over with adaptations and fat gain. And your muscle gain gets to a certain point, and then the ratio of fat to muscle just gets skewed over, and you don't want to have to diet down even longer to get rid of the stupid excess fat that you put on, because in that period you're not going to be building muscle, especially if you're an advanced trainer. So I guess the main thing to take from this is that many people don't have the goal to build as much muscle as possible, or to bulk, especially us as women. We don't really want to use the word bulk when it comes to us, because it's already such a few word. Like, I recognize it, so it doesn't impact me in the way it will. The only reason it would impact me is because I feel the way that others would. And, like, gains are only marginally more, like, if you actually look at the scheme of cutting or bulking, because you can't really gain that gain when you're in a cutting phase, the difference between gains is only marginally smaller. Like, if you take the area beneath the curve or whatever of the bulking cutting of how much you realistically gain versus a slow gain, yeah, it's longer. And at the end, I guess bulking and cutting, if done right and under the right guidance, comes out marginally on top. It's still only marginally. And wouldn't you just feel so much better walking around feeling great in your skin and looking great? Because that's pretty much like people want to be able to just chuck off their clothes whenever and wherever they want and feel confident in their skin. But if you're going through those Winnie the Pooh Bear moments, then I don't really know. Like those people that say, oh, Winnie the Pooh was confident with his belly and a crop top, then you should too. Yeah, well, you freaking do look good in a crop top. So I guess it really does just take you knowing what you want. And one more important thing to realize is that having more muscle does also make you more insulin sensitive. And this is amazing for two reasons. One is that you need to produce less insulin to get the job done, which means that as long as insulin is kept like steady and at bay, the quicker it can come back to normal levels. And when your insulin is at normal levels, then you can actually mobilize your fatty acids and blah, 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 blah. So if your muscles are more insulin sensitive, you'll be better at shuttling and storing nutrients for fuel. So like once you eat something, insulin, like you don't need as much of a stimulus to come in to signify that there's insulin there. So just a small amount of like whatever you're doing, insulin reacts, binds to the receptor, whatever, and it shuttles nutrients in where it needs, which makes you more insulin sensitive. So thus you will more likely be using your nutrients where they need to be used, like for exercise and building muscle and stuff. So I hope that makes sense. I kind of left it off on a really broad topic. Happy to talk about it, but love you all.